Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. I'm Sara Jane. This is Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls on Gift of Healing TV. And as you can see, I have been joined by my sister, Jaki Bent. And if you've never watched these before, she's my sister. She lives in Devon. I'm in Bournemouth, in Dorset. And she occasionally joins me for these, and I am always grateful to have her input because we do come from things at a slightly different direction at times. Jaki, welcome and thank you for being able to join me this evening.
Thank you for putting up with me yet again.
Our topic for this programme is someday. Don't be pushed by problems, be led by your dreams. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The worst mistake is not to make any. And I think those two are quite relevant for the thing of someday, and don't leave things to the last minute, or don't think, oh, I can do that tomorrow. I think someday is a word that should be left out of the vocabulary in some ways. And it's just like, no, I'm going to make a point of getting that done, and sooner rather than later. Jaki.
I mean, I think there's the other quote, you'll always miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Sarah said something just now, don't leave things till the last minute. I produce some of my best work when I leave something to the last minute. And that's just part of who I am. When I've got a short deadline, I will create something way better than if somebody's given me 3 months and I start on it, because my creative element just doesn't seem to work so well. So I think that yet again, it's another one of those where we've all got our different ways of working. But I'm just trying to think, one of the ones that a quote that really made me stop and take notice of my life and where I was maybe missing things. And that was, no one in the graveyard ever said, I wish I'd spent more time at work.
Yeah.
And that one really made me think, because my someday was about making more time with my children and my family. And there are many opportunities I missed when my children were little. But now with my grandchildren, I just see them and my heart lights up, and I have this understanding that their childhood just doesn't last. It goes, which with my own, I was tired and always something else to do. And so my someday is very different as I got older. But I don't know about you, Sarah. Do you remember mum and dad and grandparents saying to us, one day you'll look back and you'll wish?
Yeah.
Think, stop going on. And now they're so right. Oh my goodness. Never thought I'd say that.
But I think we do, in some respects, in that way, we do look back and realize that they were right. There were some things that they said, and it was just like, but you can't put an old head on young shoulders.
Yes and no. I think the fact is I think that the learning and the teaching nowadays is so different to how it was when we were growing up. When we were growing up, we were told things and you just had to believe them. Whereas nowadays, I watch some of the ways that parents are with their children, or the way teachers are, and I'm so impressed that they give a different perspective and they explain and they give children more details so that children can make choices. And some people say we give our children too many choices, but oh my goodness, there's a different level of communication and understanding coming about in this next generation. It's phenomenal. So I do think it is slightly different now, but that someday, oh gosh. So Sarah, if I was to ask you, can you name one thing that you thought about doing in your life, and even today you look back and you think, I wish I'd done that because that would have been really interesting, or something like that?
There's a part of me that says sort of no to that, because I've definitely got into this thing of there are things I would like to do,
Yeah.
And okay with it being having been my 60th this year, and I've been very lucky. It was just like, okay, I fancied doing a wing walk. I've now done it, sort of last year. And Jackie was there. Yeah. And then I did the mile long zip wire. I've got to that stage where it's, if there are things I would like to do, if I can make those happen, it's not going to be someday.
Yeah.
Someday, maybe, in respect of I would like to go to Machu Picchu in my lifetime.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I have been there in meditation. I would like to. I'm just trying to think. Was it 2012? And as much as I would love to have been there for that sort of change of the year, to 2012 or whatever the date was at the end of 2012 or whatever it was. As much as I would have loved to have been there for that sunrise on that day, it didn't happen in the physical, but I created a meditation. And I think there are things that we can do that don't necessarily have us doing the physical thing. I suppose if there are any regrets, and the truth is I wouldn't change anything. So please don't take this as a, sort of, or Sarah would change something, because I wouldn't be where I am doing what I'm doing and feeling the way I feel about life. And I couldn't guarantee that I'd be in a better place if I had got out of my marriage sooner.
Yeah.
And, that getting stuck in a rut, it's, someday I will get myself out of this. Someday can mean an awful lot of things. Someday hasn't got to be about experiences. Someday I will change my job because I hate this one. Someday I will find the right person for me. Well, you've got to go out there to hopefully meet them. So someday has got a huge, huge possibility of around many, many different things. Someday I will go and learn something new, whatever that might be, whatever that interest is. Depending on what your someday is how, it's like, actually, do you know what? I can make that happen within the next 6 months, within the year. Let's take the word someday out of it and let's put a time scale on it.
And I think there's another element to it. One of the thoughts that came into my mind when you were talking then, I mean, okay, you said, maybe you wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change a single thing because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now or where I am now. And yes, at times, some of the learning and some of the bits I've got to go through aren't particularly comfortable. Let's be very honest about that. But the fact is that I truly think it gives me more of a passion and understanding of why I need to do the work that I'm doing. But I had that memory of a story of a husband, and it was he was telling the story after his wife had passed away. And one of the things that he found when he was doing the clearing away was this amazing box. And in the box, he lifted away the tissue paper and everything else. And it was this, I think it was a beautiful piece of lingerie that was just absolutely stunning and whatever else. And I don't remember the whole story around it, but it was always that she was going to leave it for that special occasion, but that special occasion never came. Yeah. And she never wore it. Yeah. And, when you think about that, and I mean, crazy one, I was clearing out some of my cupboards and bits and pieces not that long ago. And a few years ago now, I treated myself to, have you ever seen those hot chocolate that it's like a beautiful piece of chocolate that has a wooden spoon in it, and you make yourself real hot chocolate. So you warm the milk and then you stir in this real chocolate and it slowly melts away from the spoon and the spoon's there. I had kept these two for a special occasion. They were over 2 years out of date and they had to be thrown away because they'd gone white around the sides. So I had bought them as a treat and never had them. Why didn't I just buy them as a treat and enjoy them on day one? Because they'd gone to the back of the cupboard and they'd been forgotten. So maybe there are tiny, like, little regrets like that, but I learned something from it. If I treat myself to something, enjoy it on the day. Don't put it away for another day. Don't let it go to the back of the fridge or something like that. Enjoy it then. So someday is something in so many, I don't know, so many elements. Someday.
Someday is like saying tomorrow.
Again.
Tomorrow never come.
Again and again. Yeah. Day after day after day. And it doesn't come. And I think, and I've used tomorrow. In fact, I've probably, in the last few years, I've probably used tomorrow more than I have someday. Interesting one. So maybe we're talking about someday and tomorrow.
Well, yes, and as I sort of was saying, I was thinking actually maybe it's totally relevant for both. In respect, is because someday could never come and tomorrow never comes, because tomorrow becomes today. Someday is so far out in the future that it's making yourself if there is something, then it's, rather than it being someday or even one day, sort of someday, one day, tomorrow. I suppose it's all a bit much the same.
So there is a time then. So I'm going to say, so I mean, for you, Sarah, you know that back in 2008, 10 years ago. So in 2008, I was told that I would probably be in a wheelchair within 5 years. So, and I'm not, I'm absolutely not. I walk better now. I have less pain and different bits and pieces than I had then. But what I did is that when I've talked about that, because I don't bulk away from the fact that that was what was said to me, but I never thought, poor me. Yes, I was in shock about it and different bits and pieces. I never thought, poor me. But whenever I've retold it to people, I have always said, I've been told that within 5 years I might be in a wheelchair. But I've always kept it at 5 years. When it got down to, when a year had gone, I didn't reduce it to 4, to 3, to 2, to 1. So we are 10 years after, 10 years back last July, after when I was told that this was my prognosis. And I'm probably healthier in some respects, physically and everything else, than I was then. So I think that there is a time, because don't they say that they've done studies that when people are told that they've got so many months to live or 2 years to live or whatever else, that people believe that and they do that countdown and they believe that this is the end of it. And for a lot of people, that becomes their reality. Yeah. So I think that there is a time and a place when someday, or putting something out there into the future, can be a benefit and a bonus to you.
Yeah.
So there's a yin and a yang and a plus and a minus and an upside and downside to absolutely everything. So I would say let's flip it on the head when it comes to something like that.
But if you use the word tomorrow, you are going to think of when tomorrow becomes today, you are, for that type of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
See tomorrow as having come.
Yeah, and so that's where I think that, I never even realized what I was doing when I kept it at the 5 years. And I still, if I say it to anybody, I'll say, I was told a number of years ago. In fact, I hadn't even clicked we'd got to the 10 years. So that was quite a something, that was the case. So, I still, to this day, I say 5 years, and 5 years never reduces.
No.
So it's going to stay out there. So
depending on what it is, as you create a permanent long term, which perfectly works for somebody in your sort of situation. But for something that you would really like to do, something you would like to experience, getting out of the job, whatever it is, and I don't want to tell people to break their relationships, sort of because, you're the only ones who can answer that one. You're the only ones who can answer if the job you're in is a job you enjoy, you want to stay, you wish to stay in. Let's get rid of that word one. the changes in your life are your choice.
Yeah.
There is something I hated working in insurance. I don't think I ever used the term tomorrow, what, someday, one day, whatever. It was just like I knew I wanted out, but there was nothing. There was no in the future anything, and so I was stuck in insurance for quite a lot of years. And it was stuck because you stick yourself by not making a positive decision and putting a time scale on it. I didn't know what else I wanted to do. I'm using that word want very openly. And because, it was just like, but when I then realized what it was that was towards my life calling, my life purpose, my choices, etc. But I had to go through a fair amount of stuff to get to that point to know that. And I'd had a friend constantly saying to me, well, what do you enjoy doing? What do you want to do? And I was just like, I don't know. Yeah. And then suddenly it was, yes, now I know. Then it made it happen.
I think another one of quotes or question. There are 5 birds sitting on a branch. One decides to fly away. How many are left? So, I mean, you understand. So one only decided to do it. They didn't take action. So there are 5 left. And so most people go, well, none, the others followed and all this, that and the other, or 4 or whatever else. It's until somebody actually takes action that it doesn't become romantic until you do that. One thing, Sarah, just to say is, I mean, I mentioned to you just before we started, play is World Mental Health Day. And I think for me, one of the things I'd like to say is someday is I saw an amazingly brave blog on LinkedIn by a wonderful lady. I had one conversation with her, Mandy Johnson, and it was about her imposter, that she had imposter syndrome, and she'd been the CEO of an amazing organization and everything else, and just different things had happened and whatever else. But that feeling, and I thought it was really interesting because I've never actually met Mandy. I've spoken to her on the telephone, but I didn't realize until I then saw a picture of her after having read this blog that she's probably as little as me. I'm only 5 foot tall. And there were all these different little things, you know, being female, being small, and the different bits and pieces. And so much of what she put resonated with me, which I think was very relevant for the fact that it's World Mental Health Day. But I also think it's that someday. When's that someday that we're going to trust that we are exactly the right person for doing those things? So when you took your change in your work, when I quit my job to do what I do now, because I literally did, I quit my job, and you know, and I've had many days, I still have that imposter syndrome feeling about the fact that, you know, who am I to be doing what I'm doing? I was about to say trying, but actually I'm not trying. I'm doing what I'm doing. And we're getting there, you know, and so that someday, and it maybe took just a tiny little share. I was at Bournemouth University on Monday with some MBA students, and one of the groups that were pitching to see if they could do some work for us as part of their coursework, one of the young gentlemen had done so much research on me, the work that I was doing, the project, the awards that we've had, the different bits and pieces, and had also done research on other organisations that had tried to do what we're doing, that had maybe had hundreds of thousands of pounds and had gone bust and had gone under and not succeeded. We've had less than £15,000 and we're ahead of the curve. And suddenly when he was speaking it back to me about the achievements that we'd had, I was like, my someday is actually happening because I've been taking action. Yeah. Whereas I had still been putting it out there that someday I'm going to succeed and it's going to happen. It's this, that, and the other. And this person feeding it back to me made me realise that by taking small actions on a regular basis, my someday was becoming a reality.
Your someday is today.
Yeah, it's getting there today. Put it that way. It's getting there. So, but it was really interesting. And I just thought that actually, and I wanted to share, you know, just that we have all these things where we question and we doubt ourselves. But actually, if we bring our someday into today and have courage to go for the things that we really want, then we've got the chance and the opportunity of it becoming a yes.
Absolutely. I've got feedback here. I'm hearing myself. It really is trusting how much you have actually done when you are taking that action. You know, sort of when I gave up the newsletter that I was doing, and this took over, Gift of Healing TV took over from that newsletter. And it was, I am going to make this happen. I had people telling me, you need this in place, you need that in place, you need the other in place. All I actually needed in place was the ability to be able to do it, the physical things like the webinar jam, to be able to do it. And I then just had to step into it, and the rest came.
Yeah.
Because I chose to say, if I wait for this, that, and the other to be in place, I doubt if I will ever get started. If you can get the absolute minimum in place, which makes a thing happen, your someday can be today, or can be next week. I stopped the newsletter in, I think it was the June or July. July was the last one, went out. And this started in September, that very same year. Because I made it happen. Yes, I would love it to grow more than it is, but do you know what? It is still there 4 years later.
I mean, if you add up the views that you've had, and especially on with some of the other ones that you've done to do with your sound healing and the meditations and the different things, and, you know, some of the amazing guests that you've had on, you know, it may not be a multi-millions or whatever else, but it's a lot of people where you've touched. And I think that the braveness, I mean, I know that back in, I don't know what it would have been, 2009 or something like that, I decided I was going to do a little video every day. I think I lasted 3 days in doing it because I struggled with the sound of my own voice type thing, and different bits and pieces. But, you know, I think sometimes it's about it. It's also, we might have that someday that there's something that we want to do, but if we try it and discover it doesn't feel right, then it stops being one of those things on our wish list for someday. We can actually work out, oh, that doesn't feel right, but maybe I could try this instead. Or that isn't quite right, maybe I can try that. So actually, by doing something sooner rather than later, you have that ability to make decisions and make choices and change things. Because sometimes we have rose-tinted glasses on, and that someday I'd like to find my Prince Charming, and I'd love for him to have a Maserati and a this, that, and the other. Well, to be quite honest, it might be that Joe Blogs from down the road would be way better for me, because they're more down to earth, more caring, more loving, and whatever else. The fact is, who knows? You know.
Oh, and as you said, you know, sort of by trying it now, by doing it now, it allows the growth.
Yeah.
It allows you, I'm taking that step forward on the path, and it may go off at an angle. It may not be that straight path you expected it to be. But by experiencing it, by rather than leaving it, by actually getting going with it. And you suddenly find, oh, right, that's opened that up for me. And that's opened that up for me. And, oh, wow, and that's then opened that up. You may end up by going totally different place than you thought you were going, but it feels so much better and feels right. And by holding yourself back with the someday, if you have the minimum, the absolute minimum you need to get going, try it.
I agree. And then I also know, and again, with bringing it back to the fact that it's World Mental Health Day, there are times when that might be too much.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, instead of beating yourself up about it, congratulate yourself for the fact that you are putting yourself first in that moment and making a decision to come back, revisit it again at some point in time when it's right for you or whatever else. So I think it's about the fact of, for everybody and anybody listening, you know, you are enough. You are in the right place. And sometimes it may not be the right time or the right day for you to do something, but you will get something and a learning from it, even if it is a looking back and you say, I wish I'd done it then. Because that the next time there's something you want to do, that just that one thought may give you that, oh, actually, I thought that in the past, I might do this today. So you can find a positive from everything in the weirdest and wonderfulest ways, you know. So for me, I hands up. I know that there are some things in life that, with some of the stuff that's happened to me in life, I'm not quite ready for yet. Doesn't mean I've put it back or put it off or whatever else. I'm doing other things and I'm taking myself one step at a time and being kind to myself. It's not that I'm just going someday and wussing about it. I'm saying I'm giving myself permission to be kind to myself and come to it at the right stage. So I think that there's a whole range of things. We're definitely not preaching to anybody.
At the end of the day, these are our thoughts.
Yeah.
And if they help you, inspire you, even if you're thinking, what a load of rubbish, great, you're thinking about it. That's what these are for. This isn't to say we're telling you what to do. These are our thoughts. Somebody sort of sent a note to me on something. It was like, I'd like to ask advice. And I went back and say, I don't give advice. I will offer suggestions. They haven't actually asked now, but it was just like, but I don't give advice because I know what I'm like when people give me advice.
Me too.
So they are suggested ways of thinking, but have your own ways of thinking.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong.
And this is why I do them, not to say this is how you've got to think about it. It's just like, actually, this is to give you something to think about. And if you could, yeah, that's why it's called Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to resonate with you, but if it helps you to start thinking in your own way about something, that is successful to me. Was it Thomas Edison? 10,000 ways of how not to make a light bulb work.
And was it him? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That one quote, and the number of people who said to me, oh, that's not a real quote sort of thing. That's something that somebody made up. I don't give a monkey's whether it was made up by somebody. It's just as valid no matter who said it. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So for me, when I with clients and things like that, when I used to be talking with them, I would talk about things like, you know, if you've got a routine, if you're stuck in a habit, if you've got all these things, if you think that you've got maybe some of these bad routines that are keeping you stuck in the someday, maybe, go in, change where your settee is in your lounge, change where the cookie jar is, change where the kettle is, change where the radio is, watch a different television channel, because how many of us wake up in the morning and we get out of bed on the same side, we brush our teeth in the same way, we have a wash, we cook our breakfast, whatever our routine is, we don't change it up. We drive to work in the same route. I love driving different routes to places. I love it. I do admit I have a sat nav in case I get lost. It's on my phone, and that's really good, and that's opened up the world of where I can go. But you know, try something different. In fact, I'm just looking. I was at a group earlier this year, pattern changing. I think I've talked about it on some of the other ones. And they got me to do one of the evening sessions was we did a collage with different things, and lots of people put pictures of things. I'm a words person, and right in front of me, I can see on the side of my fridge, living my best life. And I'm open to finding love again. Well, I say I'm open to finding love again. Do you know, I don't know if I've ever actually found real love. I really, truly don't. And that's something I would love to experience in my life. Somebody who just cares for me for who I am, and I can care for them for who they are. No judging, no trying to manipulate you and all this rubbish. How lovely would it be? Do you think you've experienced real love, Sarah?
I'm getting there with the love for myself. And when I feel real love for myself, and I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. Have I experienced real love? No, I'm pretty certain I haven't.
Yeah.
No disrespect to my 2 ex-husbands. One who can't listen anyway, bless him, because I learned earlier this year that he died 6 years ago, and not even his sister knew. But sort of, but that's by the by. Sort of. But what I am starting to realize is the most important love. You should be the love of your own life. And I know this is not what this program is about. It isn't a matter of someday I will find somebody to love me. It is actually, I am finding that the most important person to love me is me. Then I can truly let in and give out the love that brings that love you are talking about. And I think too many people look, someday I will find that love I'm looking for. And so many things, you will find it within you.
I don't think
we should be going into love.
No, I don't think another person would be what would make me whole. I would like to experience that one thing. So that maybe is my one day, I hope. I don't know. Not someday I will do, or whatever else. Anyway, I did digress and take it off our subject. There you are. So easy.
But then okay, it's still about the someday. And so I think basically what we've said is try and actually find a way of changing our terminology, so that with some things like health conditions, keep it at whatever that time scale is. Don't bring it in. So someday in 5 years stays 5 years, even 10 years later, it stays 5 years. Absolutely. Yeah. But there are other things that it's, do you know what? I am going to make this happen while I can, because we never know what's going to happen. And what is it that it was like old people in old people's homes, and some of the regrets they had. And the biggest regrets were the fact that it was someday they would.
Yeah.
And the things they didn't do, not the things they did do. And yes, there are plenty of sayings about, sort of the biggest regrets are the things you didn't do rather than the things you did do. And I think that's why I wanted to sort of do someday, with the hope that people will start thinking, because it's absolutely, I spent so many years being so scared about doing things because of what other people would think, and it became, right, now that I've woken up, I'm taking control of my life. It's not going to be someday, it is, I am going to, and I am going to make things happen. And people have helped me to make it happen. It hasn't all been about me, but I think it is someday. Someday is, think about why you're using that word and how you're using that word. Someday, tomorrow, and one day. They all fall in the same category to me. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, I just think, live your best life. That's best for you. Whatever is right for you. Somebody else's right is not always going to be your right, and that's perfectly okay. Whatever's right for you.
Always. whatever is right for you. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Respect and honor yourself, whoever you are.
Yep.
Jackie, thank you so much. Next week, faith. And this is not about religion. I'm not, please do not think I put faith that I mean religion. I don't. I hope it won't even crop up in the conversation. Well, I have them myself. The struggle you are in today is developing the strength you need tomorrow. It's about having faith in yourself. So faith is next week. Thank you for joining us, those who've joined live, those of you watched the recording. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope that this has spoken to you longer again than usual. Jackie, thank you so very much. Love, peace and light to you all. Namaste.